What if I told you America's best airport for spotting airplanes isn't its biggest or busiest? It's not Chicago O'Hare or Atlanta, despite handling far more daily flights. It's not in New York or LA either, even though they're the country's two largest aviation markets. In fact, this airport serves a metro area that ranks just 16th in population nationwide. The answer, Minneapolis-Saint Paul International Airport. Today I'm taking you inside MSP to show you exactly why this works, from the terminal design that makes it all possible, to the strategic decisions that bring both regional jets from small airports, and wide bodies from Asia and Europe to the upper Midwest. MSP has served Minnesota and the Twin Cities since 1920, but with roughly 16 airlines serving about 165 destinations, there's one carrier that makes all the difference: Delta Airlines. Delta inherited MSP when it merged with Northwest Airlines back in 2008. At the time, Delta was an Atlanta-based carrier built around the East Coast, the Southeast, and transatlantic routes. Northwest was different, an international carrier with deep roots to Asia. They had trailblazed the first routes to Japan and led the way in trans-Pacific flying. The merger expanded Delta's domestic and global reach, while MSP transformed into one of the airline's most important hubs, and we'll get to why in a moment. But here's what makes MSP special: you can actually see all of it. Terminal 1 is where the magic happened. At 117 gates, it's by far the larger of MSP's two terminals, serving as Delta's central hub, but also welcoming United, American, Air Canada, and international carriers from across the globe. And the layout is a plane spotter's dream. Three factors make this terminal unlike any other major hub in America: a C-shaped design, major parallel runways, and dedicated viewing areas. Let's start with the design. Terminal 1 is shaped like a C, and that shape is your lens into everything. Regional flights cluster at the top of the C, long-haul wide bodies and international operators anchor the bottom, and every other airline fills the space in between. The key is having the gates sit right between two parallel runways, 30 left and 30 right, with a connecting taxiway to the left. So no matter where your gate is, you're watching the operation unfold. Pushbacks, pull-ins, and aircraft crossing paths as they navigate between runways. You're in the middle of it all. But MSP didn't stop there. Tucked between the D and E gates is a hidden set of stairs. Most passengers walk right past them without realizing what's just a couple levels above. But if you know where to look, they lead up to a dedicated observation deck. From here, the view opens up completely. Taxiing on multiple routes, takeoffs and landings on the north parallel runway, and the full choreography of aircraft movements across the field. In winter, you'll even catch snowplows and de-icing operations playing out below you. A separate outdoor aircraft viewing area showcases another angle, offering a close-up perspective that few large airports would ever allow. Oh, and if you're looking for more hidden aviation insights like this, please consider giving this video a like and subscribe. But all of this, the layout, the access, the viewing areas, would mean nothing without the right mix of aircraft to watch. This is where Delta's strategy comes in. MSP is a valuable hub for Delta, but not for the reasons you might think. The Twin Cities don't have the cachet of coastal powerhouses. What makes MSP special is something the aviation industry calls a fortress hub, an airport where one airline so completely dominates the market that competition essentially doesn't exist. Delta operates over 70% of the flights at MSP. When one airline monopolizes a hub to this degree, especially on non-stop routes, it gains something incredibly valuable: operational control. Delta can shape the airport around its own schedule instead of constantly reacting to competitors. That means cleaner departure banks, fewer delays than congested hubs like Atlanta or JFK, and an operation that just runs more predictably. The result is a hub that's one of Delta's most reliable and most profitable without being its largest, and that matters. The local demand helps too. Target, 3M, and Best Buy are major corporations all headquartered here, generating steady business travel. But for Delta, the real value of MSP isn't what it generates, it's what it absorbs. Think about Delta's Pacific routes. Delta flies nonstop from Minneapolis to Seoul and Tokyo. Now you might look at that and think, why? Why not just run those from Seattle or LA? The answer is geography. MSP sits at exactly the right central point to pull together passengers from across the upper Midwest, the Plains, and Canada, a vast area with real demand for long-haul travel and no obvious hub of its own. Cities like Fargo, Rapid City, Des Moines, and Winnipeg all funneled through Minneapolis to reach Asia. This means Delta doesn't have to pile even more pressure onto its West Coast hubs, where competition for Pacific routes is already intense. MSP acts as a pressure release valve, and the network breathes a little easier because Minneapolis exists. The same logic applies across the Atlantic. Delta's East Coast hubs, New York's JFK and Boston, are crowded, expensive, and increasingly difficult to expand at. Rather than forcing all European traffic through those bottlenecks, Delta distributes the load. Non-stop flights to London and Paris out of MSP don't have to compete with the coastal hubs. They actually complement them. But there's one more layer here. Delta is a founding member of SkyTeam and works closely with Air France and KLM through a massive transatlantic partnership. And that cooperation is visible right on the tarmac. Delta and Air France both operate non-stops to Paris, while Delta and KLM both fly direct to Amsterdam. These same routes are basically coordinated as one, feeding passengers straight into the SkyTeam network. This is important because SkyTeam has a problem in the Midwest. Just a few hundred miles south, Chicago O'Hare is where the region's connecting traffic predominantly flows. O'Hare serves as a de facto home base for both Star Alliance and One World, as United and American have had a lock on connecting passengers here for decades. Without MSP, SkyTeam has almost no answer to that. They desperately need a Midwest feed, and Minneapolis is their best shot at competing for this huge chunk of the US market that Chicago would otherwise swallow whole. And that's exactly why you'll see huge Air France and KLM planes taxi past your window alongside Delta's own fleet. It's airline strategy playing out right in front of you. So, America's best plane spotting airport is in Minneapolis. It's a fortress hub built on a merger, sustained by geography, and made watchable by a C-shaped terminal with views all around. It became one of the country's most interesting and strategically useful airports without chasing the spotlight. And now, you know exactly what to look for. This Delta flight I'm on is landing at another airline's fortress hub. Click here to see which airport, and thanks for watching.